Now, for a different take on Israel's Independence Day, we have with us a special panel of Olim, or immigrants, with the outside perspective on life here in Israel. So aside from us, from New York and Michigan in the United States, we also have a friend from Cape Town, South Africa, who is also the founder and CEO at Retruster, Michael Snape. And then from Manchester in the United Kingdom, we have personal trainer Rebecca Pash. And then from France, there's Rachel Touitou. And finally from Argentina, our very own producer and Spanish language anchor, Joy Gavillon. Joy, thanks for being here.
Of course.
All right, so I think we should all start out with the basic question. When did you make Aliyah or immigrate here, and why? Who wants to start?
I made Aliyah nearly 12 and a half years ago from London. Well, I'm born in Manchester. Why? I grew up coming to Israel a lot. I did my year off here when I was 18, 19. I came back, I studied, worked for a bit, and then I decided that London wasn't really for me, and I thought I'd move here to Tel Aviv.
The weather's a bit nicer. A bit nicer.
Asia?
Okay, so I come from France, and I made Aliyah from Paris. I grew up in a very Zionist family and environment. I was in a Jewish school. Then when I was 22 years old, I did the Taglit program, and I fell in love with Israel. I decided that's the place where I want to live, so here I am.
And Taglit, for all of our viewers, is birthright. Mike, what about you?
Also grew up in Cape Town, South Africa, which is a very Zionistic community and a very Zionistic family. And it was always our dream to come here. And finally, one day I just woke up and said, why not make it a reality? And I came and haven't looked back. It's been amazing.
You came with the whole family? Or?
First, just me. My sisters came afterwards. My parents are still in Cape Town, but hopefully they'll join us at some point.
Nice.
What about you, Joy?
Well, as you said, I come from Cordoba, Argentina. I grew up also going to a Jewish school, Zionist school. And then I came here with Taglit Birthright, and then I did another program. And basically, yeah, I fell in love also, mostly, I have to say, with the weather and the beach, and, you know, like, Tel Aviv is unique.
Fall in love with? We're going to get to that,
Yes.
guys, okay? So, yeah, I mean, I guess let's talk a little bit about the Israeli identity, because some people view immigrating to Israel as making a political statement of sorts, but not all of us feel that way, obviously. What does it mean to you to be Israeli? Big question.
Big question.
Yeah.
Who wants to go for it? You want to go for it?
I don't think I made Aliyah to be Israeli. I made Aliyah to live in Israel. I don't think I have changed and become Israeli. I think I'm still, as long as I've been here, I'm still an Ola living in Israel. I think I didn't make Aliyah for political reasons. I made Aliyah for a different life and to change my life and to be happier here. I don't think I'm Israeli after all this time.
So, so going back to maybe what Natasha asked earlier about in terms of how it's perceived by others, how did other people really look at your making Aliyah back then?
Because I was so young, I remember one of my friends saying to me, you can always come back, like it's not forever. I think most people were really supportive. I grew up in a very Jewish community. I went to a Jewish school, and it was kind of the next step. If you didn't get married and have kids and stay where you were born, then I think people were really supportive of me.
Well, I mean, and there's also kind of that idea that this is the state of the Jewish homeland. Yeah. This is where all the Jews are supposed to end up. I mean, was that something that you felt you were taught?
Actually, I thought in an economic perspective, I thought I really want to contribute to the economy, to the Israeli economy. Mm-hmm. I have a background, I studied, I felt like France was becoming also an hostile environment for Jews, and I wanted to really contribute to the Israeli economy, to the development of the country. So both reasons also definitely influenced my decision.
Interesting. What about you, Mike?
I think last night we experienced Yom HaZikaron here, and I felt Israeli. I felt part of the people here, and it's such a melting pot. I mean, just around this table, we have people from all corners of the world. And for me, that's what being Israeli is. It's that, we come from a Jewish background, but we sort of creating a Jewish future together as Israelis, which for me is just incredibly special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to agree with that. It's hard when you're an immigrant, like you have multiple identities
Right.
You can say, like, I feel Argentinian because that's where I was born and that's where I learned, where I grew up. But I do feel Israeli also because I feel part of the country. I contribute to the country and I also take advantage of everything that the country has to offer. So sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to define yourself with one identity.
Right.
I guess we can agree on that.
Well, and
So-
I think also, I mean, there are so many of us who come to Israel and already have a confused identity before we even get here, right? Israel is
Yeah.
just kind of like that added identity, but
Yeah.
you're already a Jew who are almost definitely living in a country where you're the minority.
Yeah.
And with parents who immigrated from other places. I mean, the Holocaust plays a huge factor, obviously, in all of our identities.
Well, so I mean, yeah. But what I want to know, what challenges we all faced, kind of, once we got here, because I think there's a culture shock. You get if you come here on Taglit.
What
if
do you
come
mean,
here,
Aaron?
even
It's so
growing up-
easy here.
Even if you come here
social.
growing up, like periodically, like I did, like you said you did, there's still, once you get here, coming to visit even often is not the same as living here. So I kind of
Actually, Taglit shows like the bright side of Israel.
Yeah, birthright
And
shows.
Israel, you take the package. I always say to my friends, I took the package. And my relationship with Israel is like a passion love story. Why? Because you can hate the mentality, you can hate the Israeli people, but you love them as so strongly at the same time.
Yeah.
Because in the end of the day, like, we are just human beings, right? But Israel is definitely trying to help as much as possible. The Olim and the people that you meet try to help you out. And even if it's hard in the beginning, you don't speak the language necessarily, or you have trouble to find a job, people are trying to help. And this is what's amazing about Israel. And not sure I can say this is what I felt
Elsewhere.
elsewhere.
What about you,
I
Rebecca?
think language was definitely the hardest when I moved here. Definitely learning it and trying
Yeah.
to converse with people and getting what you want in a way, like service people. That's definitely
the service industry is definitely a culture shock.
So like signing
Yeah.
up for a phone or your bank, and you're like signing a million documents, and you're like, I have no idea.
Even like going to the supermarket
Yeah.
in the beginning and
Yeah.
trying to read the ingredients,
Yeah.
and I'm
That's
like,
true.
I don't know what I'm buying, but you
Ordering
learn with
meat.
time.
Everything.
Yeah.
Negotiating with taxi drivers.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a period of adjustment when you first come here. Completely different attitude.
It's so nice.
And you get where it comes from. There's a lot of energy here and chutzpah and all those kind of things. But I think that we also have a huge part to play in kind of bringing some of our values from the countries that we come from into the society here as well.
Yeah.
Like learning how to use the word "excuse me,"
Standing in a line.
Standing in a line.
Israel
Yeah.
just standing in a line.
I think Israel definitely make us become stronger people.
Oh,
I
that
mean,
is for
like,
sure.
Yeah.
I think I'm definitely more brave than what I was before, and I can handle much more difficult
Oh, I agree.
You
situations
develop
than.
a very thick skin.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So, I mean, now having transitioned and become full-blown Israelis, if we can say that, what would you say your favorite part is about being here? Because now you probably have a very different perspective.
And I think what
yeah.
you would want to change, because that's something that you
And
touched
also what
on
you would wanna
earlier.
change, yeah.
As an Israeli, you want to contribute, and that means ideally for the better towards the country. So what would you want to better here? What would you want to change and improve upon?
I think one of the things that I love about being here is just the entrepreneurial spirit. You walk past any bar, there are two guys scribbling on a serviette, coming up with the next unicorn or the next startup idea, which is awesome. And in terms of things to change, I think, as we spoke about, just the service here and the level of service, having experience from outside of Israel, what's possible, I think we can hold Israel to a higher standard and actually build it up.
Can you specify that? Restaurants?
Everywhere, basically.
Your
actually
insurance
think-
provider.
I also think that the cost of living in Israel is very
Yeah,
high,
that's-
and the average salary remains pretty low, especially if you need to live in a city like Tel Aviv. This is something that maybe we can improve for not just for the Olim, for the entire population, and
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the housing crisis.
Yeah, I love Tel Aviv. It's my home. I've been here so long. I love the vibe here. I love that I know it. I love walking around. I love the people. And then definitely the same services, just everything that's so simple takes so long.
You take it for granted, really.
Yeah,
and then
being able to order something online
and it
quickly.
delivers, and you don't have to sit in a post office for 20 minutes.
Well, and even fight for the thing you ordered online in the first place.
Well, I come from a place where it's a lot slower than actually here. Maybe people are a little bit more polite, but the service is definitely slower. But I mean, I enjoy it here. I enjoy also like walking around the spirit, like a lot of young people, especially in Tel Aviv. Every country has his flaws, like you give and take. Like you come here and you like give up something and you take something else, but I mean...
Yeah, there's always something to complain about no matter where you go. I mean, the beach too, guys, and the weather. It's just incomparable. It's incomparable.
That's unique.
I think also like the freedom of belief, like you can be free to be a Muslim, to be a Christian, to be a Jew, whoever you are respected for who you are. And this is something very special in Israel. And even other democratic countries struggle with having any proper integration in the society. So I think we can be proud of that.
Well, I think on that note, we can say happy birthday, Israel, right?
Happy birthday!
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.